everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions with Pastor Peter. Glad you're able to join me today. Today we're going to be looking at Genesis 27 and how Jacob steals Esau's blessing. Now, as we saw in the story before, we make bad decisions, not story, but yesterday's. We make bad decisions when we are hungry, angry, tired. So, get rested. At any rate, this is what we're going to be doing today. Let's read together in Genesis 27. This is what it says. One day, when Isaac was old and was turning blind, he called for Esau, his older son, and said, "My son." "Yes, father," Esau replied. "I'm an old man now," Isaac said, "and I don't know when I may die. Take your bow, a quiver full of arrows, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare my favorite dish, and bring it here for me to eat. Then I will pronounce the blessing that belongs to you, my firstborn son, before I die." But Rebekah overheard what Isaac had said to his son Esau. So when Esau left to go hunt for the wild game, she said to her son Jacob, "Listen, I overheard your father say to Esau, 'Bring me some wild game and prepare me a delicious meal. Then I will bless you in the Lord's presence before I die. Now, my son, listen to me. Do exactly as I tell you. Go out to the flocks and bring me 2 fine young goats. I'll use them to prepare your father's favorite dish. Then take the food to your father so he can eat and bless you before he dies.' But look," Jacob replied to Rebekah, "my brother Esau is a hairy man, and my skin is smooth. What if my father touches me? He'll see that I'm trying to trick him, and then he'll curse me instead of blessing me." But his mother replied, "Then let the curse fall on me, my son. Just do what I tell you. Go out and get the goats for me." So Jacob went out and got the young goats for his mother. Rebekah took them and prepared a delicious meal for the way Isaac liked it. Then she took Esau's favorite clothes, which were there in the house, and gave them to her younger son Jacob. She covered his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skin of the young goats. Then she gave Jacob the delicious meal, including freshly baked bread. So Jacob took the food to his father. "My father," he said. "Yes, my son," Isaac answered. "Who are you, Esau or Jacob?" Jacob replied, "It's Esau, your firstborn son. I've done as you told me. Here's the wild game. Now sit up and eat so you can give me your blessing." Isaac asked, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God put it in my path," Jacob replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come closer so I can touch you and make sure that you really are Esau." So Jacob went closer to his father, and Isaac touched him. "The voice is Jacob's, but the hands are Esau's," Isaac said. But he did not recognize Jacob because Jacob's hands felt hairy just like Esau. So Isaac prepared to bless Jacob. "But are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "Yes, I am," Jacob replied. Then Isaac said, "Now, my son, bring me the wild game. Let me eat it, and then will give you my blessing." So Jacob took the food to his father, and Isaac ate it. He also drank the wine that Jacob served him. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come a little closer and kiss me, my son." So Jacob went over and kissed him, and when Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he was finally convinced, and he blessed his son. He said, "Ah, the smell of my son is the smell of the outdoors, which the Lord has blessed. From the dew of heaven and the richness of the earth, may God always give you abundant harvests of grain and bountiful new wine. May the nations become your servants, and may they bow down to you. May you be the master over your brothers, and may your mother's son bow down to you. All who curse you will be cursed, and all who bless you will be blessed." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and almost before Jacob had left his father, Esau returned from his hunt. Esau prepared a delicious meal and brought it to his father. Then he said, "Sit up, my father, and eat my wild game so you can give me your blessing." But Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" Esau replied, "It's your son, your firstborn son, Esau." Isaac began to tremble uncontrollably and said, "Then who just served me wild game? I have already eaten it, and I blessed him just before you came. And yes, that blessing must stand." When Esau heard his father's words, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Oh, my father, what about me? Bless me too," he begged. But Isaac said, "Your brother was here, and he tricked me, and he has taken away your blessing." Esau exclaimed, "No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?" Isaac said to Esau, "I have made Jacob your master and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?" Esau pleaded, "But do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too." Then Esau broke down and wept. Finally his father Isaac said to him, "You will live away from the richness of the earth, and away from the dew from the heaven above. You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck." From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing, and Esau began to scheme, "I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." But Rebekah heard about Esau's plans, so she sent for Jacob and told him, "Listen, Esau is consoling himself by plotting to kill you. So listen carefully, my son. Get ready and flee to my brethren Laban and Haran. Stay there with him until your brother cools off. When he calms down and forgets what you have done to him, I will send for you to come back. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm sick and tired of these local Hittite women. I would rather die than see Jacob marry one of them." What a chapter. Family issues will be family issues, and will always be family issues. Every family has them. Any family that says we have no issues has issues, and they're lying. That's their issue right there too. But the reality here is tough. You get away with certain things, but then after everything's done, you get found out. And in this situation, he got found out. Not only that too, Rebekah was the one. Now, when you look at Rebekah and we think, oh, she's this innocent, great, wonderful mom and everything's great about her. But remember, she wasn't with Abraham. She wasn't with Isaac for the first 40 years of his life. I mean, she wasn't raised with God-fearing, with the blessing and the miracles that God bestowed upon Abraham and Isaac. She didn't see that. She may not even realize who God is in her life. Like for us too, sometimes we don't experience God on a regular basis because, one, we don't open our eyes to him, but sometimes we don't even look to him, and so we don't hear and see from him, and let alone someone who comes alongside us. As we see here, she just took advantage of the fact that her husband was old, and then she played favorites rather than doing what is right. Now, Jacob, during this time, he took the firstborn rights. We don't know exactly what he took and how that came about, if they made a pact deal. But the blessing that comes usually here is what comes with being the firstborn. It was foreshadowing what Esau forfeited when he wanted to eat something. Jacob, really, in his rights, was allowed to do this, even though that's not what Isaac wanted, nor what Isaac agreed to. And I don't think Isaac really even knew, maybe he didn't know, what Esau has done. However, in this situation, they went through great lengths, listening in, hearing what Isaac told Esau what to do. Apparently, Esau was Isaac's favorite, and Jacob was Rebekah's favorite. And scheming against each other, saying things, doing things like this, no one wins. It breaks relationships, as we see here. And now we see family divided. Rebekah, because she did this, she lost her son. He was gone. He left. Her favorite is no longer there with her. Her other son would probably resent her if he found out, and he probably did. And Jacob now, or Isaac really now knows he lost a son. He blessed the son, but yet he was angry at him. And so you see the family dynamic here. It's not good. It's not fresh. It's not helpful. And so the reality that comes down for us always is it's always good to be honest. There are times when we need to do wrong things. I was talking to my kids today about ethics, and I was teaching, imagine teaching, an 8-year-old and 10-year-old ethics, but it's always never too early to teach ethics to young kids. Why? Because you have to understand that there are times where it's black and white, but there are times where you do something wrong in order to accomplish something right. And so I asked them a question. We're talking about artificial intelligence, and I said, the difference between robots and humans is that they don't have the capacity, at least at this point, to have ethics. It's coded into them, but it can't be computed or thought of and decided upon. It's more black and white. So if you were driving an autonomous car, you're in the car by yourself, you turn the corner, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of people, about 30 people, walking across the street. You didn't see it, the car didn't see it, you can't stop on time, you're not in control of the car has to make a decision. Who does it kill? Does it kill you, as the owner of the car, or does it kill 30 people who are walking in front of the car? The black and white is it's better to save the life of the many while sacrificing the few. But at the same time, if you were in charge, would you do the same thing? Would you kill yourself to sacrifice the 30? And so as machines, as far as I know, they can't decide that. But as humans, when it comes to making ethical decisions, we have to see that sometimes, we have to do what's right in order to do what's right. And we have to do what's wrong in order to do what's right at times, too. And in this sense, I'm not saying what we should do, but the aftermath is we have to live with the consequences of whatever we did. This was going according to prophecy. We knew that this was going to happen. Whether it's right or wrong, we knew this was going to happen. At least we did, because we have the Bible to tell us. They didn't. It was foreshadowing. They could have seen it coming. But like everything, you can't see how it comes out and where God plays with it and gives it direction. It's hard to tell how things will turn out until it has turned out and you look back, you're like, oh, I see why that happened. And then by that time, it already happened. So, in this story, again, doing what is wrong or what is right, you have to live with the consequences. I remember not too long ago, I know someone who smuggled Bibles into a country. And when you use the word smuggle Bibles in, that's not a right thing according to the government. However, being faithful to God's word and sometimes God's calling to us sometimes means defying government. And so the individual I knew did that. Did he get caught? No, thank God he didn't. At the same time, he was able to really help the church over in that country flourish, and he was part of that movement. But at the same time, he has to live with the fact that he disobeyed directly government laws. However, he did obey what God put in his heart. So again, versus machines versus mankind, AI versus regular I for intelligence, I guess, instead of artificial intelligence. We have to realize that there's a consequence for all of our actions. And what Rebecca did here, Jacob going along with it, Esau letting go of his birthright, Isaac, he did try to do his best. His wife wasn't by his side to help him. He harmed him. So guys, don't marry a wife who's going to sabotage your plans. But the thing here, as we see, is that he tried to make sure it was Esau. He made sure. He touched his skin. I mean, just imagine how hairy Esau had to be. I mean, like, seriously, hairy. In order for him to, to be able to have that thick of hair like goat skin. That's pretty hairy. But see, what he did was he couldn't see. He didn't recognize the voice. But he was conversing with Jacob. Jacob tried to give him an answer, fitting answer. Jacob cooked the best food that he knew how, or his mom did. Again, mom played everything out and he went along with it. And then the next thing was he took the birthright. He took the blessing. Left. Had to leave for his life. That's his consequence. Mom lost a son. Father, mother, broke relationship, brother and brother. They don't see eye to eye anymore. That's still an understatement. And families are broken apart. So whatever we do, we can't say that God has punished me because the outcome of our actions has produced that. There's a ripple effect on everything that we do. Talked about that with my kids today. A ripple effect. Every single decision we make, single thing we do, doesn't just immediately affect me, but it affects everyone around me and the consequences that go with it. And so the question that comes for us is, are we making good decisions today? Are we doing what is right? Or are we just doing, whatever? So my friends, take more inventory on what we think and how we make decisions. Because it matters to those around us and ourselves. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.